What's up, gamers? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a very long time. It's been 3 months since I've last uploaded. A lot of bad things happened within those 3 months, and I just want to talk about it before I get back into the swing of things again. So here we go. As we all know, I had a really good upload streak, and I had some really good plans. This was like the first half of the year, from January to February. Starting March, I was doing pretty good. I uploaded, my last real upload, was the Dark Deception Chapter 2 Part 1. And then I went on a week holiday to Hastings, took some videos, not really much like what happened, but the highlights that I was going to share when I got back. When we did get back to Birmingham, it took a week to sort of settle back into Birmingham life, because like, as we all know, happiest man in Birmingham is
because I live in a shithole.
Well, yeah, it was genuinely depressing going back to Birmingham. I was just so upset. And then I uploaded the Helldivers meme I made, which was, I thought that was a really funny thing and a really fun thing to start get things going again, which it was. Even Scott got a really good steady job as a science tech at school, it was pretty good pay and everything we needed to kind of pick ourselves up, and things were looking really, really good, strangely enough. And then everything went to shit very quickly. This was after the Helldivers upload. Scott's dad was taken into hospital. We got a call saying that he was taken into hospital because he had a fall and he had some breathing issues, and they just wanted to keep him overnight to see how he's doing, give him some checkups, stuff like that. He stayed in for a bit longer than we were all expecting, so we called in on him to see how he was doing whenever we couldn't visit, which was really often because it was a pretty strict visiting hours time. It was, I think, from 10 or 12 till 8. And Scott's work was almost 2 hours commute there and back. And he was working for school hours, so that was early mornings until about 3, and then he'd get home around about 5, 6-ish, so it wasn't really enough time, and he was always exhausted and I was always exhausted. A few days later, while Scott was at work, he got a call from the hospital asking for him to come in as soon as he can for some really hard to take in news. And that day he came back really early from work, I remember, and he messaged me, you know, the hospital called, they wanted to share some really like tough to take in news. I was like, oh, okay, we'll talk about it. And when he got back, we talked about it. We're talking about like what possibilities it could have been, and it kind of, at that point, we were just like, with the way he's breathing every day, the way how bad he is with coughing, it's probably cancer, because he was smoking from like 15 years old, and he was like 72, 73, 72. And we go to the hospital, I believe it was the next day. We spent some time with his dad, and we're just like, yeah, you good. The doctor comes in, he's like, oh, we got some stuff to say that, you know, it's gonna be hard to take in. Like, as you know, we've called before, you know it's gonna be it's a bit of a tough day today. And we're just like, yeah, we're ready. We gotta, you know, keep an open mind. He had stage 4 lung cancer, and we were shown the results of his scan that he had. There were just 2 enormous tumors, like 1 in each lung. They were just huge, and his lungs didn't look normal or healthy at all. It was just a mess. Like, as someone with asthma, like, looking at those scans made me feel like, man, just breathing like that must be so fucking difficult. Like, how can you breathe? How can you actually breathe? The doctor was really nice and patient and giving us the news. He was just really good, and the nurses were like, they were really nice. They were all amazing and they did a really good job. And the doctor told us he probably has about 2 weeks left to live, which, like, on the day of getting that news and saying you only got 2 weeks, Jesus Christ, it made my heart leap, and we're just very upset because we had a feeling it was cancer, but at the same time we didn't want to believe it. We were just like, oh, it could be something else. But also on top of that, he had pneumonia as well, which was really bad, and it was just, he was on a ventilator and like hooked up with a mask and a tube to help him breathe, and it was just really fucked at the end of the day. So after that happened, Scott was just like, okay, I can't work. Whoa, my dad is on his deathbed. And I was just like, okay, that's completely understandable. And he quit his job, essentially his dream job. He quit his dream job. I can't get past that most of the time, because right now it's like getting a job is a bit hard, and that job just kind of fell into his lap so easily, and he really enjoyed that job. It was his dream job. He was a science tech in a school. The science teachers, the whole science department loved him, and he loved being there. But yeah, he had to give that up so he could visit his dad every day for 8 hours. We spent all day there for as long as we could without fail. We're just always there. Scott tried calling his older brother several times, and he didn't even pick up once. And it was quite interesting because at the time Scott's dad didn't want to see his older brother because of some issues that his wife caused for the whole family and how she treated her husband as well, and he just didn't want to see any of them. But we managed to convince him, no, come on, you have to see both your sons, you know. And he was like, okay, just make sure she doesn't come. And we're just like, okay, we'll make sure she doesn't come. Every single time we came back, it was always at night. The doctors called just like, you know, he's in critical condition. He's not gonna make it through the next night. He's not gonna make it through like the next day, stuff like that. And we're just like absolutely just losing our shit, just crying and panicking. And it's just like, what the fuck do we even do? Like, your brother won't pick up. Like, you know, a lot of shit is gonna get blamed on us for things that aren't even our fault. But yeah, he finally picked up the next day, and he was just like, why haven't you picked up? Like, Dad is on his deathbed. We were told to come in today to say our goodbyes. And he was like, okay, I'll be there. So he comes late because he chose to pick work over his dad. Not just that, his wife was being really selfish and decided to have a screaming match with him over the fact that like she couldn't get to see him. That's just such a selfish thing to do. Like, why would you waste so much time? Why would you even act like that, like screaming at your husband for not being able to see your father-in-law who doesn't even like you? Like, when you've caused so much trouble for the family, except the fact that some people don't want to see you. But yeah, he came after his work, which is really sus, because it's just like, okay, why can't you just take grievance leave? Like, come on, it's not that hard. Make some time to see your dad on his deathbed. Like, come on. We also found out that he wasn't picking up his calls because it was out of spite. He just wasn't picking up out of spite, and I can't even talk. It's so flabbergasting. Like, I can't believe it to this day. It's just like, even though you both agreed that you'd only contact each other in emergencies, you still chose to ignore that call out of spite, and because of that, it's cost you your time with your dying father. It's actually unbelievable. So he turns up late to the point where he only has an hour to spend with his dad before visiting hours are over, and he is oddly very careful not to mention his wife at all while he's there, because he knows it's a touchy subject with the entire family, bringing up his wife's name and stuff. It goes pretty smoothly. I say that, but it just got worse towards the end. Like, his dad was burning up, sweating, and it just reminded me of my nan when she had cancer when I was younger. She'd breathe just the way he was breathing. She'd burn up just like how he was burning up. And after when we left the hospital, we went to the local McDonald's to sort of like talk things out. I was just really upset because I didn't want to be that person who just gives them the tough truth, but at the same time I had to. I was just crying and just saying, my nan was exactly like this. He's not going to make it much longer. He'll be extremely lucky to make it by the end of the week. Even though his dad didn't want to see his wife, he talked to us about trying to convince him to see his wife. But this isn't like an innocent, father-in-law, daughter-in-law. This is very much a situation where she has forced her husband's hand to be like, I want to see him because I want to, and it's not fair that I'm not there. Scott's there and is there and I'm not there, and that's really unfair. She's just forced her husband's hand to just try and change his mind, which is like it's so unbelievable hearing that people are like that, like hearing someone be like that. We just both knew that like he wasn't going to accept it. He wasn't going to accept seeing her because he did not like her at all, and she just always gets her way with her husband because she always twists his arm, his leg, like twists any part of his body to get what she wants. And after we got in the Uber when we were coming home, me and Scott were just talking about his brother, and we're just like, he looks disheveled as fuck. He's gaining a lot of weight, and he looks and sounds miserable since he got married. There's no way that anyone can convince his dad to see her after everything she did to the family. After 3 days of being diagnosed with cancer, we got the call at 10 to 1 in the morning that he passed away in his sleep. All I can remember is just waving at him with a smile, hoping that I get to see him the next day. And it just feels weird to kind of remember that. Like saying just bye, thinking you're gonna see someone the next day, because you're not. And that just like plays in my head a lot. I don't know how to deal with it, because I just felt like I was gonna see him at least one more time. So the next day we were called into the hospital, and we called Scott's brother to meet us there to talk with the nurse about what to do next after death. So we were taken into this room, had a bit of a talk, we were given a leaflet, all these steps of what to do next. The nurse left for a bit to talk to one of her colleagues about something. I can't remember what it was. And Scott's brother just seemed way more upset that the hospital didn't know, like, they didn't know who he was. He seemed pretty annoyed that the people at the hospital already knew me and Scott, but that was literally because we took time out of our day, whether I was in pain or not, whether Scott had destroying his career. We saw his dad every day. We came in every single day. Of course the hospital would know us. I still remember in that room, I literally quote, "Do they not even know who I am?" And it's just like, could you kindly shut the fuck up? Like, honestly, you're crying about them not knowing you after you spent 1 hour with your dad before he passed away, and it's been almost a year since you've seen him, and it's all on you for not seeing him. Like, bitch, please. So the nurse came back. she was starting to say something, and his wife butted in to what the nurse was saying, just trying to validate herself and her husband, exclaiming that he was his son too, and that she was his wife, because the nurse had to know that for some reason at a time like this. The nurse literally just was like, okay, and literally turned around to continue to talk to me and Scott, which was just fucking hilarious at the time. It was like a slap to her face, just like, you're so self-centered, you're thinking about the wrong things at this moment in time. After the nurse walked us through the leaflet a bit more on what to do next, she left us to essentially mourn, probably talk things over, or just like sit in silence in the room. And his wife asked us about probate and the will. Mind you, it hadn't even been 12 hours since this guy's death. And the first thing she said to Scott in almost a year of not seeing him was asking him about the big paycheck by death that she wanted. I was just absolutely fucking gobsmacked. We left the hospital and we were fucking mortified. She was so selfish, and so was he. Like, I was more pissed off with her than I was him, because he died on that day. In the morning. We literally got the news that he passed away. We fell asleep from exhaustion. We got up, dressed ourselves, got to the hospital. Like, literally no self-care in the world. Like, fucking showerless. We didn't even brush our fucking teeth. We just dragged ourselves out of bed, dragged ourselves out the house, got to the hospital, and she fucking says that the day of his death, oh, what about the will? Money, money, money. Like, bitch, please, you've got to be kidding me. You're so fucking heartless. But to be honest, little did they know, we were the sole executors of the will. We were entrusted with the funeral and where his ashes would be scattered, which was where Scott's mom's ashes were scattered. Because we're very big brain, we know what his dad wanted. We talked it all out. He went in literal peace, knowing that everything was sorted, knowing that we had everything. Ever since the day he died, our luck kept on falling to new time lows. It was depressing. It was so depressing to the point where we just gave up and we just started laughing at how ridiculous this shit luck was. And you'll see what I mean soon. Like, I'm gonna get into it and you're just gonna be like, ain't no way you fucking dealt with that. That's fucking ridiculous. So, as we were instructed by his dad, we started to gut the house of all possessions. Scott's brother offered to help, but surprise, surprise, he didn't fucking help a bit. He didn't even put in the effort to, because apparently he's too busy working his job. Like, actually, shut the fuck up. You live with your wife's family. You don't have to work that hard. We picked out some clothing from his belongings to dress him for the funeral. We're just like, yo, he's gonna look spiffy in this woolen jacket, like, you know, it's got a bit of a stain in it, but oh, that jacket looks really good, and we're gonna give him these cool trousers, and you know, he's gonna be dressed to the fucking nines for his funeral. And we found a lot of family photos and family photos of Scott that we didn't even know even existed. We thought they were just photos of just his big brother because he was the first child, but no, there were secret hidden pictures, many of them, of Scott, which was honestly really heartwarming, reassuring. They even had like a key ring of like 3-year-old Scott. It was it was really cute and funny to go through a lot of the stuff. And we found this picture of his mom that was just absolutely fucking stunning. She was so photogenic, like she was made for photography. That picture was so perfect. After a while, we organized a will reading with family friends who live around the corner. That's John and Auntie Liz. And there was going to be a lawyer present from their family as well, who Scott's dad was really fond of as a friend. We wanted only Scott's brother to be there because we knew his wife would literally try to start shit. We're just going to invite like everyone to be there as fucking witnesses because we don't trust what the fuck's going to happen. And then it turns out, even after like tons of times, Scott was just like, you know, you have to be there for this time. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. He didn't even show up, he didn't message, and he didn't even fucking call. So what was the whole fucking point? Although, like, family were very happy to just gather up for that. They just wanted to sort of like see each other after everything happened, sort of like catch up and stuff. It was pretty nice. So 5 days later, we arranged to see his dad's body in the morgue with Auntie Liz and John. We made sure to tell Scott's brother well in advance so he could make it on time, which, by the way, surprise surprise, he was fucking late and saw his dad's body for less than 5 minutes because his wife pestered him to pick her up after work despite the heavy traffic. Like, what do you gain from this? You're just putting your husband through so much torment for your own personal gain. Please fucking stop. Everyone wants you to stop. Stop being like this. Anyone who is like this, get off my channel. You're not fucking welcome. Just assholes. So after we left the morgue, this was right after, so we got out the hospital, Scott got a call from his dad's number, which was just like, what the fuck? And yeah, this is where the luck just it just keeps on going. It just keeps on rolling down that hill. It was the police on the phone. They broke both front doors for a welfare check because one of his friends that we kind of forgot to tell was just like, oh, I'm worried. I'm a call the police to do a welfare check, and they broke the fucking, they fucking did one on the doors. After that, we're just like, oh shit. We just went straight to Auntie Liz's, and we just had a cherry Coca-Cola, and was just like, yo, we need to talk about this. So that was interesting. Luckily, they were just like, you know, we'll watch over the house a little bit for you while you're, you know, sorting things out. We're just like, thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu. We eventually got to replace the main door and had to replace luckily the porch door was still intact. We just had to replace the lock, and we just continued to strip the house after that. It was getting to the point where I was getting so stressed that I got gastroenteritis. So yeah, every day was even more pain than usual, and eating was difficult, and I was losing a lot of energy, and I was losing a lot of my will to keep on going. I was just like, fuck's sake, everything's so fucked. As I said, the bad luck keeps going. The boiler had a water leak into where the gas was coming into the boiler to power it. So the gas mains had to be turned off. So we have no heating or hot water in the house. Scott ran into some issues with British Gas acknowledging the passing of their customer, and they were trying to scare us into staying with them with all these random bills they kept on coming up with out of nowhere. We came back from a normal weekendly break. Like, we do the work in the week, and then we go away for the weekend, you know, to just take some time, and then we come back to work on the house again. And we came back to the garage almost flooded because the tap pipe was not closed correctly. Scott, at the end of the day, just had to keep on calling multiple companies, informing them of cancellations and stuff due to his dad's passing, and companies were just making it really difficult for him to cancel because they're just so fucking money hungry. They just don't fucking care about the simple, important shit, which is fucking unbelievable. And then we needed to move the car to get a skip in the drive, and the car wouldn't fucking start, and I just made a joke just like, bro, the machine spirit went with him, you know. It couldn't keep on going after he passed away. We just kept on laughing at that. The car couldn't fucking go on, and the garage roof was leaking because his dad didn't seal the lining when he tried to fix it a few years ago. We've had the property valued, and luckily we don't have to pay inheritance tax, so that's like, you know, big ups. Scott's dad's death was actually made into a case with the coroner due to potential work with asbestos, which would call for an unnatural death, and I kid you not, they're still investigating as I'm making this video, and they're probably still going to be investigating his death way after I upload this video. Like, his death is not fucking canon. We do not have the death certificate. He has technically not fucking died yet, even though he's been turned to ashes and we're going to be scattering him soon. He is not fucking canonically dead to the government, okay? It's fucking stupid. To top it all off, Scott's driving instructor got into a car crash due to one of the fucking students not being able to fucking drive. So Scott can't take any driving lessons anymore, which is fucking stupid. And then at the end of the week of all that bad luck, because this happened all in a fucking week, by the way, John gave Scott a fortune cookie to give him a glimmer of hope. And I kid you not, the fortune cookie, when he opened it, was a fucking misprint. And we were so fucking fucked up by that we just maniacally just laughed at the ridiculousness of it. Like, how does that even happen? The amount of shit that happens in 1 week, and then it's finished with that. The fucking cherry on top of this fucking depression arc. It's stupid. Even after all that bad luck, we found out that the fuse board in the house is so old that it's fucking illegal, and we had to spend quite a bit of money to get that replaced. Like, when you flip a switch or something with it, it fucking explodes, and it has like little sparks coming out of it. It's so fucking old. It's just fucked. It's so fucked. It was, I couldn't believe it, and I was like, how is this house not actually blown up or burned down or something like that? Because the bedroom and the bathroom also had illegal polystyrene ceilings in, and the bathroom had an old-fashioned exposed heating element next to the ceiling, which could have been really fucking bad. And to put it in perspective, it was so bad, our builders, Ben and his dad, hi Ben, took a picture and did a little show and tell around the house of how dangerous it fucking was. After a month of work on the house, we just didn't have enough money, and we just decided, okay, we're gonna leave the house until we have enough money to fix things up again, you know, get things fixed, call electricians and shit like that, all the people that we need to sort the house out, to gut the house and make it an actual safe place to live in. Since then, between then and the funeral, I've had a lot of A&E visits due to chest pain and other sorts of pain and feeling like strange, which was you know, not fun. If you've been to A&E, the fucking wait is so stupid. I ended up getting like so little sleep. It was just exhausting. Before the funeral, Scott's granddad called us to talk about funeral arrangements, so we discussed not being sure of inviting Scott's brother's wife, because it wasn't just the way we felt about her, it was the way the majority of people that were going to be there who felt about her, and they felt negative, strong emotions towards her. And his granddad was just like, no, invite her, be a good person, invite her. And I'm just like, well, yeah, I mean, sure. And then he dropped the fattest bomb that they know how much she manipulates him and that we weren't alone. And it gave us so much strength to just be like, you know, we're gonna invite her, and we all know what she's done. No one's in the dark. It's all out in the open. It's all obvious. Okay, we can do this. Day of the funeral, the tension was really fucking high, because there were two different parts of the family. There was the instant family, the family friends, or extended family, who hated her and wanted her to know how much they hated her. So, that was really interesting at the start. Everyone was just like murmuring when she got there, just like, oh, she's here, or if she starts shit, I'm gonna fuck her up. Or just like, you know what, that's fair, just save it for like after the funeral, you know. I remember when the coffin showed up, we were trying to decide, like, who's gonna carry the coffin. It was got John and Scott's brother, and I felt the literal daggers in the back of my head when his brother's wife started to approach the coffin to try and carry it, and then I was picked out verbally for carrying the coffin because I was a lot closer to their dad than she was, and I just saw the daggers in her eyes. And then as I was carrying it, I felt the daggers from her in the back of my head, in the back of my spine, because she was following behind closely, and I felt the pressure of carrying, like, the spiritual pressure of carrying a dead person is quite... It goes deep. It goes really fucking deep. Because although you can imagine, oh, it's just like carrying, you know, just something, it's just carrying someone, it's okay. Knowing that person and carrying that person's body to their final resting place is very hard to do. I almost fell over myself several times. I was speeding up way too much. I couldn't control the expressions on my face because there were so many expressions that wanted to come through all in one go. My face was just aggressively twitching, and I was looking everywhere, and I felt so much pressure, and like, it was a day. It was definitely a day doing that, and I didn't want to feel like I was disrespecting anyone by going too quickly and then trying to slow down and going too quickly, because I could not control any part of my body. I was just fucking panicking. And I explained that afterwards, and I was just like, oh yeah, it's fine, like, you know, the pressure and all that. And I was like, yeah, thank you. The service was really nice. Me and Scott picked out the best photos, the best music, like even his favorite piece of music. Because apparently we didn't know like any other music that he liked. It was just, he only talked about liking one piece of music. And we had some bluebells on the coffin to represent the amount of bluebells Scott's mom had actually planted in the garden before she passed away, which was really, really nice. Bluebells and lilies, it was very nice. After the service was okay. It was just coming out, I just felt this just disrespect. You know when you don't feel the disrespect yourself, but you feel the disrespect for someone else, especially when it's that person's funeral, you feel the disrespect for them. It's like their funeral. I felt that when me and Scott exited the crematorium building. His brother and his brother's wife were behind us, and they started to kiss obnoxiously loud. And I've seen them kiss before. They don't kiss loud. This was on purpose, and it was like so disrespectful. I just couldn't believe it. Me and Scott decided to have a little walk around the really big garden next to this like kind of like tiny forest. It was where his mom's ashes were scattered, and we're just talking about things, and I was like, you know, trying to cheer him up, just like, oh, this and that, and oh, he's, you know, the amount of spinning in his grave of this happening, he's gonna generate like electricity for the whole of fucking Birmingham kind of thing. And he just fucking laughed. It was just very funny, and very funny jokes, and you know, happy stuff, and admiring a lot of the graves there as well. After we calmed down, we came back to where everyone else was, and people started coming forward from the funeral, telling us that his brother's wife's eyes were completely dry despite her making crying noises, and John's brother noticed she only applied mascara on her bottom lashes. And I remembered as well that they were told recently that they were excluded from the will. Yeah. And we heard they went straight to Scott's grandparents to try and start shit about it. And I say to try and start shit because there is no other reason for them to go to their grandparents other than to start shit, because they actually hadn't talked to anyone in the family for like almost an entire year since they got married. Everyone there at the wedding was like a monkey in a suit, essentially, for them to get married to, and then they just ditched everyone after that. I just kind of knew she wasn't sad at the funeral because she wasn't getting a singular penny. Like, we all talked about it. Just like, she's pissed off, she's not getting a single penny, and she's always been the type of person to claim money from her husband as her own, and she's actually even put them in debt from her spending habits. So can see why she's not sad, and she's more pissed off than sad. So, you know, that's something for her to deal with spiritually. But, you know, haters gonna hate, you know, asshole's gonna ass. So after the funeral, family and then family friends went separate ways. Me and Scott were with the family friends. We went for a bit of food and drink, just kind of like cool down a little bit from the funeral. It wasn't a wake, it was just a cool down period. We just had to like chill. It wasn't a celebration of life like a wake is. It's just, we had to chill out and just eat something because we were just so fucking depraved of everything. Then when we made it back to Auntie Liz's and John's, still on the day of the funeral, the ambulance had to be called for me because I very aggressively vomited everywhere and I had severe chest pain and I was so exhausted I could barely walk or stand on my own, and I found it really hard to just stay awake. They were just like, okay, you can either come to hospital in the ambulance or you can make your own way there, and I was just like, I am not going in a fucking ambulance. So I was like, okay, I'll just make my way there. Me and Scott were driven by John's brother to the hospital. We're just like, okay, we'll see you later, we'll keep you updated and stuff. After A&E, I was referred to MAU, which was the medical assessment unit. Then after that I was sent to ward 25, and the wait there was so fucking bullshit. I saw new people come and go before me, so I just gave up and I was like, fuck this, I'm leaving. I'm exhausted after everything we've been through today. I'm so exhausted and I don't want to put Scott through more hospital bullshit because we've already been to hospital multiple times because of random pains and shit that's happened to me. I had to sign a fucking waiver to self-discharge because they didn't know if I was gonna have a heart attack overnight and they didn't want to be responsible for that. So yeah, I had to sign myself out, and the fact that they said I'm at risk of heart attack was it was like, I have anxiety and that was very bad. That felt really fucking bad. So the next day we went to our local A&E and explained that I needed a blood test to see if my chest pain was heart attack related, and I was sent to SDEC, which is same day emergency care if you didn't know. I had an x-ray, nothing showed up, but my bloods came back with results saying I had a clot in my lungs, possibly. They said, okay, this is most likely brought on by extreme stress and medication as well, because I was taking a contraceptive pill, and as we all know, they can possibly cause clots, and the amount of stress that I've been through for like the past month by then was just, my health was declining. So they gave me blood thinners to last until I had a scan at the City Hospital, and they never followed me up on that at the hospital, so I had to go there in person after my medication ran out and just be like, so yeah, I need this scan. And I was told that you were supposed to call me, and no one called me or anything, and they were just like, oh yeah, we sent like a confirmation check to the other hospital to see if, you know, essentially confirming that we should do the scan. And I was just like, and they didn't fucking respond, did they? And it just pissed me off, and they were just like, no, it's okay, we can get you seen today, which they did. It was a scan in the nuclear medicine department, and I was injected with radiation, and they made me breathe some radioactive, you know, air. They injected some fucking water into my, like, fuck drinking water. Give me that direct hydration right into my fucking veins. Reject physical shit, just vein shit, pump it in me. It was free fucking hydration, direct hydration, like, this revolutionary. In the end, they found a large clot in my lungs, and I was prescribed a double dose of 50 milligrams of blood thinners every day for 3 weeks. And this might be a bit TMI for some people who are like, oh, I'm such a snowflake, I'm so sensitive, I can't handle things that happen with random people's bodies, oh, men and women, oh, they're so different, oh, I can't take it, oh, biology is too much information, I cannot take this anymore. But anyway, my periods were just unnaturally heavy. Like, I was using the biggest pad, which would cover for like 10-hour protection, and I was actually forced, I kid you not, I'm not like bullshitting anyone, I was forced to change those in under 2 hours for 3 fucking days. That was a lot of blood. I lost a lot of blood. This is only very recent, like this is within the past week. Because I lost so much blood, the doctors were just like, okay, you're gonna need to book a blood test for next week because we don't know if you're anemic, so we need to check your blood count. I'm just like, I'm most likely anemic. I've just completely lost my appetite. I just can't eat anything. When I do eat anything, I feel extraordinarily faint. I feel extraordinarily weak. I get really bad palpitations, so I've just avoided eating food, and I lost 6 kilograms in under a week, despite practically being bedridden. I haven't done anything to lose that weight. It just came off me. 6 kilograms in under a week. It just came off me. I mean, we got to the present now. I just don't have energy. I feel faint. And I'm still waiting to hear off several clinics and doctors to get back to me on surgery and different diagnosis and other things. So yeah, it's just a lot to deal with recently. In the end, I didn't really want to, within all that time, I didn't want to upload videos knowing my schedule would be scuffed. So I didn't upload anything or make anything or continue editing anything to save myself from stress. But the thing is, now I'm stressed from not creating or uploading, and I'm extremely stressed from not doing the one thing that I really love doing, which is being a YouTuber. I really love that, and it keeps me busy and it makes me happy, and I've just been stressed just this past almost 3 months now, and not being a YouTuber is stressing me out as well, and I'm just like, okay, I need to get back into things now just to save myself from any more declining health issues. So many of my plans are they've just gone down the drain from one spiraling event, which it really fucking sucks. I want to upload. I want to build our community. I want to build a safe place on my channel for everyone. I think I'm gonna start uploading and creating again here and there when I can. If you made it this far, thank you very much thank you for just listening to my just yapping of what happened for the past 3 months. Like, I knew I have to make this video at some point, but I didn't know it would be this fucking hard. But thank you for supporting me, thank you for staying subscribed to me, thank you for watching. If you have anything to say, just comment, you know, I'll always try to reply. Like, if you look at every comment on my channel so far, it pretty much always has a reply, if not a like from me. I'm always gonna like your stuff and reply to it. Thank you for giving me your love and support, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Bye bye!